Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I would like to do the Many Moltres of GLC, having done Articuno and Zapdos, already on the Many of GLC playlist. So, what is GLC for those of you who don't know? It's a single prize only, no Robux format, so no GXs or EXs, which is, a bit of a shame, RIP. It is singleton, however, except for basic energy, and you're only allowed one type per deck. So even if you really wanted to run Zapdos and Articuno with Moltres, sadly you can't. It's a good excuse though to have three different GLC decks. At least that's the way I view it. But yeah, only one type per deck, sadly. So the first Moltres we can take a look at here is pretty uninspiring. It's pretty bad. Even the artwork on the one on the left here, I think, is it's a bit suspicious. Doesn't look very good. But yeah, overall, not a very good card. I mean, yeah, the artwork on the right one is fine, by the way. And, resistance to fighting's nice, weakness to water is pretty bad, but Searing Flame, well, in all honesty, right, okay, Searing Flame is okay. Like 50 damage, burn, cool, right? There are ways to modify burn damage, but Fire Blast, 90 damage, full energy, and you have to discard one. It's just not good at all. So, yeah, it's a shame, but it's definitely one for the binder. Next up is we have a one from Fates Collide. And this one I do have a tiny amount of nostalgia for, just because I got one of these in the theme deck that I bought like way back. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, Flying Flare for 2 fire and 2 colorless does 80. And you can do 120, which, it's still pretty bad for 4 energy. But if you do, this Pokemon also does 20 damage to itself. So yeah, sadly this card has been very much outclassed by modern Pokemon. So there's not really much of a reason to run it. You could do way worse, but at the same time, there's just way better options. So, it's one of those like, yeah, it's whatever kind of cards. But yeah, pretty bad if you want to do competitive GLC. Next up is we have a promo, and this just continues the trend of bad Moltres because, yeah, this card is terrible. Sky Attack can do 150 on a coin flip, but it is a 50% chance not to attack at all. So it's just like, whatever. If it was a coin flip to do like Tails and then you do 50 damage to yourself, then that would have been a bit more acceptable. But the fact that you might just not do any damage at all and you've sank all that energy into a Moltres, which by the way is fairly fragile, 120 HP is not a lot. So yeah, it's just a bit rough, really. So not a very good Moltres. Next up is we've got a slightly better Moltres. That's good. This Moltres, 120 HP, still kind of fragile, but at least more so on the tankier end, I guess, for Pokemon that can accelerate energy. So Assisting Heater does 30, and then you may attach a Fire Energy card from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon. Honestly, quite nice. A lot of these attackers are usually accelerating energy from the discard pile. So being able to do it from your hand is quite a nice change. Does mean that you're effectively getting one less step out of your attack. Like, you don't have to discard the energy first, which is kind of cool. So I do like this attack in that sense. Fire Wing is, it's 90 damage for 3. It's not very good. But Assisting Heater, yeah, you could do way worse for energy acceleration. So if you're just starting out and you don't have any other options, then, maybe it's okay. Next up is we have a one from Team Up, and this is the complete opposite end of the scale. This is a really good card. Top Burner says discard all fire energy from his Pokemon, then discard a card from the top of your opponent's deck for each energy you discarded in this way. Which is, a very good partner for Scorch, which also has the exact same attack, but you don't have to discard the fire energy, which is really cool. So yeah, basically you just play both of these as a mill deck. That's what it is. It's well, hopefully you would have guessed that by now, but it is a mill deck basically with Welder and stuff, which is cool. You could also run things like Team Rocket's Handiwork, flip 2 coins for each heads, discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Very fun card. So if you like mill and you like fire decks and you like Moltres, then yeah, this is really cool. If you don't like mill decks, you're kind of out of luck because Fire Spin's not particularly great. It's still better, I would say, than the other attacks on Moltres, previous ones that only did 120 for 4 energy. So doing 180 is a massive step up. But yeah, it is mainly here for Top Burner. That's definitely the best Moltres in GLC, I would say. So yeah, very good card. Next up is the one from, now I know this says Vivid Voltage, but that's actually Brilliant Stars. So yeah, made a mistake already. But this Moltres has the attack Inferno Wings, does 20 damage, and if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 90 damage instead. And this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, RIP, so grass types are laughing at you. But still, 90 for 1 energy is pretty solid. And of course, the best combo with this is probably just Magma Basin. So it's from the same set as well, which is really convenient. Brilliant stars. Once during each player's turn, that player may attach a Fire Energy card from their discard pile to one of their benched fire Pokemon. If a player attached energy to Pokemon in this way, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So yeah, just a very simple, easy way of doing 90 damage and charging up a Moltres. I would say this is also one of like the easiest Moltres to get a hold of, just because the card's still in standard, which is cool. So if you're just like getting into GLC and things, then this is a pretty easy deck to pick up. So cool, 5 out of 10 for me. Well, maybe not 5 out of 10, more like a 7 out of 10 actually. It's a really good card. Like it's definitely not as good as this one, but it just depends what kind of deck you're building. Like obviously, if you're not going to play a mill deck, then yeah, this one's better. So yeah, it's cool. Inferno Wings, definitely a pretty strong attack. Next up is we continue to actually have good Moltres in this video. So yeah, it started off rough, but now we're actually at the good stuff. So yeah, Flare Symbol increases your basic fire Pokemon's attack damage by plus 10. It's the exact same as Articuno and Zapdos from the same set for their respective types. However, fire types do have some really cool options as well, like Chi-Yu and this Entei, which I actually picked up today for GLC, which is funny. But yeah, this Entei is honestly pretty solid. 60 damage and then 20 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon, plus an extra 10 damage from Flare Symbol. Quite cute. But yeah, Chi-Yu can do 130, which is, yeah, it's fine. But Flare Symbol will bump it up to 140, which is quite nice. So, you know, just some extra damage modifiers. Can't go wrong with that, really. It also just depends, though, if you're running a lot of, I guess, stage 1, stage 2 fire type attackers. If you're focusing on basics, then this Moltres would be a solid option. But at that point, you might also just would rather, you know, play this Moltres. It kind of depends on, would you rather have another attacker that's cheap and easy to use and really good, or would you rather have the plus 20, no, I said plus 20, but no, it's plus 10 damage modifier, you know. Which one would you rather have? Personally, I would say this one is actually a bit better, just because you have like, it's a bit harder to pull off, but you could get like donks and stuff. Just with you'd be able to find the stadium with supporters like Guzma and Hala. But yeah, I think it's possible actually to pull this off quite well. But yeah, Inferno Wings I just think is a much better attack than getting the ability Flare Symbol. But that's just my opinion, really. Still a very solid Moltres overall, though. And then the last one is actually one from the set of 151, so a bit harder to acquire because it's from a special set. It does have the powerful ability Flare Float, which says if this Pokemon has any fire energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost. Yay! Just means that you can attach energy and get out the active spot. So, you know, if you open with it, for example, it's your first Pokemon, it's just really easy to move. It's not just stuck there for a while or until it gets killed or something. So, you know, the ability's cool. And then Blazing Flight, discard 2 fire energy, and you get to do 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So think about all those other Moltres at the start of the video that were doing like 120 for 4 plus a negative effect. This is just discard 2 energy, and you get 120 snipe anywhere for 3. So yeah, pretty solid move. It is a good spread attacker. Of course, you will have to get the energy on there. So, you know, go figure how you're going to do that. I mean, like, Embor is probably the easiest way. Welder exists, but you won't be able to use it more than once, really. So yeah, I do think Embor might actually just be the best way to do this. But yeah, it's honestly not a bad attacker at all. Again, it's not my cup of tea. I still think I would much rather play this one from Brilliant Stars. But, you know, both of these, actually all 3 of these are really good in their own way, and the mill one as well. So, you know, still got plenty of options ready for Moltres, which is cool. But yeah, thank you for watching. I do a new set review for GLC with each new release, so do subscribe if you're interested in being updated. This is now a series to stay, of course, so let me know which Pokemon you'd like to see in the future. There is a list, but getting through them, and a playlist has been made. If you want to dive into the competitive side, OmniPoke and the Format Creator Trigger Gym have both done fantastic videos and guides for each type. And as you can probably tell by my voice, I'm very tired, I'm very ill, I need to go to bed. But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Emma Power. Let me know what you think down below. Will you be running Moltres in your fire deck? And yeah, thank you for watching.